Hello, Tim from Fair Play now on the 4th of May 2024, and I'm currently being bathed in something I'm not very familiar with at the moment, this kind of rather strange white yellowy phenomenon. What is it? Oh yeah, sunshine. I've lost really what it's all about, to be honest with you, over these last few months, but here we are. It's a beautiful day down here at Hope, Sussex, in deepest darkest East Sussex, and really this is the start of day 2 of the Uprise and Shine. And day 1 was brilliant. I got some footage of some pretty good speakers there, really good speakers, and looking forward to doing a bit more here on day 2. So a really good event, and the great thing is just being in the company of like-minded people for a whole long weekend. It really is very uplifting, and I'm going to try and get some shots around about here, maybe a few little mini interviews with some punters and some of the speakers maybe, and stall holders, just to give you a flavour of the vibe. But I've got a really good little joke for you at the end of this video, so keep on watching. But one thing I'd like to touch on, we were talking last night up in the cafe there, quite late, well, probably about 10 o'clock. I was in there talking to quite a few different people, and one guy's story in particular, it's probably quite typical of a lot of people. Fortunately, I never really had this, but I know a lot of people, including a lot of viewers, did. And he was saying that back in the deepest, darkest times, 2021, he was invited, well, he wasn't invited actually, he knew of a family party that was going on, basically being hosted by his sister, and she came on to him and said, you know, are you going to get the thing in the arm? And he sort of, because obviously she knew what his stance was on that already, and he said no. And she said, well, you're not coming to this party then. And the bizarre thing was, he's got 2 daughters who are teenagers, I think, and at the time they weren't, because of their age group, they weren't eligible for the thing in the arm. And so he turns around to his sister and said, so are they excluded as well? And then she said, no, no, they can still come. And and he was, so they haven't got that, and they can come, but I haven't got that, and I can't come. And she was, yeah, but they're not eligible for it yet, whereas you're just refusing it. So the whole thing is it wasn't about keeping safe at all. Her point of view was, he's just refusing this, he's refusing to obey the rules and the diktats, so I'm going to exclude him from the party. But because the daughters aren't eligible, they're perfectly fine. So this is just a small example of the complete and utter madness. And he doesn't, I'm kind of putting words into his mouth, but I don't think he wants to really have much to do with her until she apologizes for that behavior. And I can't really blame him, to be honest with you, because it was absolutely disgraceful behavior. And he also made the point, and I quite 100% agree with this, it was only because people, whether they had that or didn't have that, basically having the attitude, well, it's up to people who don't want that to make up their own minds, to have their own bodily autonomy. And I think that is what saved us, really. That's what this guy was saying, and it was because there was enough people with that attitude, well, hang on a minute, this sort of not being fair to people who haven't had that, just isn't on. That's just not right. That's not what we do here in this country. We don't force people to have things put into their bodies that they don't want to have. And because that sentiment was so strong, like I say, among both the V'd and the un-V'd, that is, I think, what saved us. But there were plenty of people around, like the sister, who would have probably seen her brother and the likes of me and you, maybe, if you're watching this, put into internment camps. And that was the way it was going. If it hadn't have been for this pushback, this attitude, that was the way things were going. And the government and the other kind of powers that shouldn't be, that's the way they would have had it as well, isn't it? If they'd got their way, the likes of me, you and this guy I'm talking about would have been in internment camps by now, or worse. And what these people don't realise, people like his sister don't realise, and why we're still so upset about this, because we get this thing, don't we? Oh yeah, it's only you lot who are still going on about this. We've all moved on. Well, the only reason why we're sort of still going on about this is because in the deepest, darkest days of 2021, we were literally, as this bloke was saying, and as I've often thought as well, we were literally thinking of what we were going to do if these blessed things, blimmin' things, had been forced upon us. Yeah, if it got to the stage of, well, you know, if you don't have it, we're going to send the police around, we're going to send the army around, we're going to do whatever to get the things into you anyway, we wouldn't have done that. Yeah, we would have literally done anything it took, whether we lost everything, including our lives, to be honest with you. We would have done absolutely everything to not have had that. That is how strongly we felt about this, how we felt about personal bodily autonomy, and how we felt about freedom. And like our forebears, we were perfectly willing to sacrifice everything to maintain freedom. And so for people just to sweep that under the carpet, when it came, I felt very, very dangerously close to being a terrible situation in this country. You know, for them to expect us just to forget about it and to sweep it under the carpet, no, that's not going to happen. It really won't happen. And we will keep on going on about this until the whole thing about those things comes out. And we also need to talk about what's going on about the excess things, if you know what I mean. The declining birth rates and all of the rest of it. Nobody's talking about that apart from us lot. And again, that is why we are going to carry on talking about this. And we're going to see justice. I don't care how long it takes, whether it takes 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever. We are going to see justice eventually, and that is a promise. Anyway, that's quite heavy actually, seeing as this is supposed to be a nice uplifting weekend here in the beautiful sort of sunny English countryside. I just listened to it. I don't know if you can hear, but the birds are tweeting, got sheep barring every now and again in the fields, sort of the other side of those trees. It really is quite magical. And it is just a lovely setting here. Well, apart from that tape, I suppose. That's the edge of the big marquee we're in. All very nice in there as well. And it is just a lovely weekend. So let me finish on that. Oh, by the way, there is still time if you want to come even sort of tomorrow, just for one day. You can still come for one day. Tickets are still available. I'll leave a link to that in the description box below. And let me finish with that joke as well, that I was talking to this guy, and he's quite a comedian actually, and he was coming out with some corkers, and one of them was this one. How many 77th Brigade Nobbos does it take to change a light bulb? None, because they're all into gas lighting. And with that, I'm going to leave it. Back soon. Tim from Fairplay now. Thanks for watching.